Ayan. So, good morning, Sir Mar.
Good morning, Ma'am Basil.
Ayan. So, ano bang gagawin natin ngayon, sir?
Ay, ngayong umaga po na it's Monday. Siguro mas maganda po we start our week with fruitful knowledge.
Sige po.
Okay.
Ready when you are, Sir Mar?
Yes po. Once again, good morning. Good morning, my partner, Ma'am Basil. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to our friends who are with us today. A blessed Monday, everyone, and welcome to another session of giving you some important details about on how to improve ourselves as a P6 enthusiast. Yeah. Okay, let me share first my screen before we start. Greetings to all, greetings to everybody, and it is our pleasure to welcome you to our webinar series titled Demystifying Quantum Mechanics, Addressing Misconceptions, Possible Strategies, and Assessment Tools for Effective Teaching. But before that, please allow us to introduce ourselves. I am Mar Ohol, a science teacher, and
yeah, I'm Basil Ann Pelicano, a physics teacher.
Thank you, Ma'am Basil. And to our physics enthusiasts, to our friends, thank you for embracing your day to us. Okay, but before we commence our presentation, Just to give you a short background regarding this talk, that at the end of this first day, we are expecting everybody to give you some input regarding the following goals: identify and address misconceptions related to quantum mechanics, and gain insights into common misconceptions related to quantum mechanics and how innovative pedagogical approaches can be utilized. Okay. Let me also share this essential question. This essential question will serve as a guide once we move in our discussion. And the essential question is, why is it necessary to understand the misconceptions in quantum mechanics? And remember, as a teacher, not only teacher, but if you are really involved in looking some details on how to improve ourselves, we usually question ourselves by using the term misconceptions, because primarily these misconceptions will lead into fully understanding the uh, the content at the same time on how to improve the context of our idea. Okay, but before that, before we start sharing with you these misconceptions, allow me to start by sharing this um, video clip of a concert featuring the renowned Filipino singer Lani Miselucha, and I urge you to pay close attention to the stage setup during the concert. Indeed, we are really champions. Okay. I am certain that we share the same observations. Let us channel that observation into a query. Why does light hold such significance in quantum physics? However, during this presentation, I want to shift the focus away from the concert itself and instead use this clip as a launching point to delve into the fascinating world of photons by using this familiar and relatable example. I hope to provide more accessible entry point for a better understanding and appreciation of the complexities and importance of photons in our daily lives. While the concert may be the initial inspiration of the talk, the real focus will be on unlocking the mysteries of misconceptions of quantum mechanics. Okay. Remember, the comprehension of the context of quantum mechanics is imperative, and I'm sure you will agree with me that this is non negotiable. For what reason? Despite its complexity and difficulty, defining, or should I say, deepening one's understanding of this topic enables the utilization of the theory for practical purposes. Are you ready, my dear physics enthusiasts? Okay, let's begin.
Of course, sir. We are ready.
Yes, ma'am, we are ready. Sabi nga kanina, we are the champion. So if we are the champion, therefore we must be ready anytime, 24 over 7. Yes. So let's begin. So the first misconception is the prevalent misconception in quantum mechanics rather pertains to connecting quantum physics with reality. So what is this physics with reality? Okay. Albert Einstein famously posited that reality may be interpreted as an illusion. As contemporary quantum physicists continue to delve deeper into the fundamental nature of existing, mounting evidence suggests that everything essentially consists of energy. Albert Einstein's famous quote, about reality being an illusion has puzzled and fascinated scientists and philosophers alike for decades. As quantum physicists continue to delve deeper into the nature of reality, they are uncovering more and more evidence that supports the idea that everything is fundamentally made of energy. This concept challenges our traditional notions of solid, tangible matter and forces us to be reevaluate our understanding of the universe. But the big question is, Sir, parang hirap po yatang intindihin po nung illusion, reality. Can you give us a concrete example if where can we really apply that? Okay. To illustrate, to illustrate this concept, consider the simple act of grabbing a jar of peanut butter from your kitchen. As you hold the jar in your hand, you have the option of placing it on the table, on a shelf, or even between the shelves. This highlights the quantized nature of reality. In the quantum world, everything is broken down into levels or energy levels, much like the shelves in your kitchen. Remember, on the quantum side, particles such as electrons can exist in specific energy levels, much like how the jar of peanut butter can exist on different shelves. However, the strangeness of the quantum world becomes apparent when you give an electron energy. It can jump from one level to another without physical movement. So next time, my friends, when you reach for a jar of peanut butter, take a moment to ponder the profound implication of Einstein's words and the mind-bending discoveries of quantum physics. Because the nature of reality may be far more complex and mysterious than we ever imagined. The second misapprehension pertains to the belief held by certain students that atoms can release energy in discrete quantities with arbitrary rather values. So may I repeat, the number or the second misconception is students believe that atoms release energy in discrete quantities with arbitrary rather values. Yan, nabubulol na po tayo. Okay. So when photon interacts with an electron, the electron's energy is raised to a higher energy level. The photon's energy is absorbed by the electron, causing it to transition to the next energy level. Subsequently, when the electron descends back to a lower energy level, it emits a photon with a wavelength corresponding to the difference in energy levels. So, in other words, it should be noted that the emission of light is a mechanism through which atoms can transition from an excited state back to the ground state. In this excited state, an atom possesses at least one electron in a high energy state and at least one unoccupied lower energy state because the electrons transitions from a high energy state to an unoccupied lower energy state resulting in an emission of a photon with energy equal to the disparity between the electron's initial higher energy and its final lower energy. Okay, let us now move to the third misconception. The third misconception pertains to students experiencing challenges in comprehending the concept of the ground state and identifying it as the 0 point on the energy scale. So, in other words, students have difficulties understanding the concept of the ground state and locating it at the zero of the energy scale. In quantum mechanics, when we speak to ground state energy, it refers to the lowest energy level within a closed system. This signifies that all higher energy states are considered excited and will return to the ground state following a period dependent on the energy and permissible pathways. To give us a specific example for this, let me use microwave as an example to illustrate the concept of the third misconception. Microwave ovens stimulate the rotations of water molecules in food, which subsequently transition to vibrational modes producing heat. Another instance involves is the air we breathe. While most of the air exists in the ground state in terms of rotational energy, it is partially excited at different vibration energy levels and in translational motions. The concept of vibration in a molecule is a fundamental aspect of each structure, one that is constantly in motion due to the inherent properties of atoms and their bonds. This perpetual movement is known as the molecule's ground state and then a state of minimum energy that serves as the baseline for all further excitations. Okay, and then the number four, the fourth misconception is arises from the complexity of quantum mechanics, the idea that a photon can be partially absorbed or emitted. Despite the energy levels at which atoms can absorb and emit, there's always some level of uncertainty in these processes. And what is this uncertainty? This uncertainty is what allows for the possibility of partial absorption or emission of photons. When it comes to the absorption of photons by charged particles, such as electrons, quantum mechanics struggles to provide a complete explanation. This is because photons and electrons are structured point-like particles in quantum mechanics. When an electron absorbs energy, it moves to higher orbital and can release energy when it falls back to a lower state. Because the idea of a photon being absorbed by a free electron is also a complex topic in quantum mechanics. Always remember, while photons can transfer their energy to free electrons through processes like the Compton scattering, the transfer of energy is not always complete. This means that while a high energy photon can lose energy and become a low energy photon after interacting with the free electron, it is never fully absorbed by the electron. This is due to the principle of energy conservation and momentum conservation, which must be maintained in all interactions at the quantum level. Okay, at this time, let us outline the prevalent misunderstandings often encountered when studying quantum mechanics before we continue. So the first one is the challenge of bridging the gap between quantum physics and reality. The second is the misconception that atoms release energy in discrete quantities with arbitrary values. The third is struggles with grasping the concept of the ground state and identifying it as the zero point on the energy spectrum. Number four, the notion that a photon can be partially absorbed or emitted. Ang Basil?
Yun. So, ayan. So, yan po ang mga na summarize na ni Sir Mar na mga misconceptions na usually. So, let's repeat na lang ulit, Sir Mar. Babasahin ko ulit. The challenge of bridging the gap between quantum physics and reality. Misconception that atoms release energy in discrete quantities with arbitrary values. Struggles with grasping concept. So, ang dami, no? Parang ang hirap kasi talagang intindihin, Sir Mar, ng quantum physics.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
imagine niyo na lang yung ano pa lang, no? Pag yung atomic model na mag-release ka ng energies in discrete quantity, ang hirap na niyang isipin. So, paano na lang kaya yung iba pa? Kasi marami pa po talagang ibang misconceptions ang mga estudyante natin na hindi natin na-address, lalo na sa mga konseptong kagaya nito na quantum physics. So ano-ano pa ba? Dagdagan pa ba natin, Sir Mar?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, ma'am, ngayon pa lang habang nag-explain ako, na-realize ko na ang hirap intindihin ng quantum mechanics, lalo na if hindi mo talaga field yun, no? only to find out na yung quantum mechanics ay isa sa mga factors bakit nag-i-improve yung technology natin.
Yes, that's right. Ang dami-dami po talaga nating development, no? Technological development. Lalo na sa, for example, sa kaya tayo may computers na ngayon. Dahil
Correct.
yung ating data storage nag-improve dahil sa developments at kung ano-anong napag-aralan na before sa quantum physics, no? So ang galing lang talaga kasi ang dami talaga nating makukuha ano dito, ideas, and at the same time malay mo pagdating ng araw, no, itong mga audience natin na manonood nito, ay pwede pala yung mga ganito. Kasi marami po talagang idea na profound sa simula, pero of course kapag naintindihan na lalo na pag in-apply na sa mga technologies at sa engineering, no? Ang galing lang talaga ng konsepto at makukuha at malay mo merong mga estudyante tayo dito na nandito,
Correct,
tapos mga
ma'am.
teachers natin na nandito na maka-influence ng mga batang makapag-develop ng something na may application ng quantum physics. So mas maganda po talaga ma-address natin yung mga misconceptions nila, Sir Mar.
Yes,
Ano
ma'am.
po?
Usually kasi ang unang pumapasok sa isip natin, ma'am, pag quantum mechanics is yan, yung particles. Ngayon, kung talagang hindi natin naintindihan particles, lalong hindi ma-appreciate ng tao, 'di ba, ng bata, yung
Oo
epekto
nga.
nito sa environment or sa technology.
Totoo. Kasi lalo na yung nabanggit nyo kanina, photons. Ano yung photons? Paano nagkaroon ng photons? Eh di ba light? Di ba sabi nyo, light waves yun? Paano naging particle ang photon? So nakakaano siya,
Nakakalito.
nakakalito talaga yung ganong konsepto. So paano nangyari yun? So medyo hindi kasi naobserbahan, ang nakikita lang natin may ilaw, pero again, hindi talaga natin ma-imagine bakit nagkaroon ng ganyang konsepto. And of course, itong mga konsepto na to, ano yan, napatunayan nila yan using experiments. Pero tayo, wala tayong capacity na mag-experiment ng gano'n, no? Pero sana, in the near future, tayo din magkaroon ng ganong, capacity to have our own mini experiment para makita ng mga estudyante natin, ng mga kagaya nating teachers, kung ano talagang nangyayari sa quantum world. Kasi sobrang, pag sinabi mong quantum world, super liit kasi ang pinag-uusapan natin na hindi natin makikita using ordinary microscope lang, di ba? So, ang hirap. So, sa tingin niyo, Sir Mar, may mga suggestions pa ba kayo other than the peanut butter, the microwave? Meron pa ba kayong naisip on top of your head right now na pwede pang di ba, i-explore ng ating mga audience?
Actually, ma'am, yung mga circuits, integrated circuits, since sa mga bata, paboritong-paborito nila yung mga gadgets ba, ma'am? Pag gadgets ang pinag-uusapan, mas advanced po sila na hindi natin alam na itong mga gadgets nito, they are composed of integrated circuits. May mga lasers din po sila.
Oo. And at the same time, speaking of integrated circuits, so circuits pa lang, di ba? Ano din yun, abstract concept kasi meron kang electrons na paano ka nagpo-produce nga naman ng electricity and so on. Pero that's out of the context. Pero kasi, meron din tayong ganyan. Di ba ang electrons nga, sinasa electrons. So, hindi rin natin nakikita yon. Pero, according to quantum physics, hindi lang light ang pwedeng maging wave at particle, pero yung electrons din, pwede din pala silang magkaroon ng wave nature. So, maraming mga experiment na nangyayari. Sige, tuloy natin, sir, ha? Magpakita tayo ng additional information. Kasi, simula naman kasi atoms, di ba? Atoms. Ngayon, may mga teachers tayo dito, malamang na chem teachers, malay ba natin? So, tingnan natin. So, ituloy natin, Sir Mar. Tuloy natin. So, kasi, malamang sa malamang, meron tayong mga chem teachers. So, itong mga chem teachers natin, alam na alam ito yung mga s orbital. Parang kasi s orbital. Ano pa nga ulit? May sp, p orbitals, d, meron pang d, and of course meron pang f, pero hindi ko na pinakita kasi masyado ng komplikado, lalo na sa ibang audience natin na nanonood ng mga estudyante pa lang. So, marami tayong tinatawag na orbitals, at kung hindi mamasamain ng ating mga chem teachers, yung mga orbitals na to, ito yung nagdi-dictate basically kung ano yung magiging forma ng mga natin, ng yung tinatawag nating molecules, 'di ba? So, yun yung nagdidikta kung anong forma ng molecules natin. Pero bakit may ganito tayong concept ng orbital? Bakit nasabi ng chem teacher natin na ganito ang itsura ng S, ng P, ng D, tsaka F? Pero dito lang tayo magja-jump off. Kasi jump off point lang natin to. Galing doon sa concept ng atomic models ni Sir Mar at yung nga. So dati kasi, nung unang-unang panahon, syempre nag-history na ako, sir. Grabe, historical background ito. So nung unang-unang panahon, sa time ni Democritus, mga pa yan, BC, mga ganon. So, ang konsepto lang nila nun ay yung isang object, isang bagay, composed of hindi molecules kundi atoms. Yun yung smallest natin structure sa pinakamaliit na composition ng isang bagay. Ngayon si Dalton, ayan, 1800s na to. Sinabi niya, spheres ang itsura ng atom. Okay. Ngayon, nagkaroon ng development. Bakit sinabi ni J.J. Thomson na ganito? May electrons daw pala, may protons. So, may may development. Ano kayang nangyayari? 'Di ba? Ganito lang pinapakita natin models ng atom. So, may models ng atom. Eventually, may Ernest Rutherford. Sinabi niya, may nucleus yan. Lahat ng positive, neutral particles nasa gitna, may electrons na umiikot sa kanya. Pero sabi ni Niels Bohr, mali yan. Kasi dapat planetary motion ang ginagawa ng electrons. And eventually, pagdating ni Schrödinger, so pwede niyong spelling yan kasi German yan si Schrödinger si Erwin Schrödinger. So, dahil minsan walang umlaut, yung dalawang period dan sa taas ng O, so ini-spell siya sa English as OE. So, si Schrödinger, siya na yung nagsabi na ganito ang itsura dapat ng ating atom. Now, bakit kaya binabanggit ko dito yung ganitong model ng atoms? Kasi ang complicated. Parang bakit nag-iiba-iba ang model ng atom, no? Kasi, so bakit ganoon? Bakit may models of atom? Bakit natin kailangan pag-usapan? Bakit may development? Kasi nga, ayan, according to Bitzenbauer, 2021, isang German author ito. Okay? Sinabi niya na isang student difficulty ang distinguishing a model from the reality of that particular model. So, 'di ba? Kasi parang ganito ang model ng atom. Pero paano nila nasabi na ganito nga? Kasi may ibang estudyante, isipin nila, ito yung ang atomic model, drawing mo ng malaki, pinaliit mo lang, yun na yung atom. Pero hindi kasi ganon ang nangyayari in reality. Okay, paano natin i-approach ito? So may mga ganito tayong atomic models, ang dami-dami. So kahit magsimula ka lang kay Dalton, kay Thomson, papunta kay Schrödinger, anong nangyayari? So tingnan niyo yung timeline, 1800 si Dalton, 1926 na si Schrödinger. So pwede nating tingnan yan in a historical context. Bakit nagkaroon ng ganyang model? Kasi minsan nakakalimutan natin kung anong nangyayari sa pagkakataon na yun, no? Sa susunod, sa part 2 ng ating video presentation, Sir Mar, magbibigay naman ng suggestion, no, na ang grupo natin kung ano yung possible approaches, no? So ito ay binibigyan lang natin ng konteksto kung ano yung mga nahihirapan ang hindi lang mga estudyante kahit tayong mga teachers, hirap din tayong i-imagine. So maganda sigurong tingnan kahit as a teacher or an enthusiast or a student, pwede siguro nating tingnan ano bang nangyayari? bakit nasabi ni Thomson, for example, na may electrons at may protons doon sa model dahil si Thomson ang nakadiscover ng electron. So, na-discover niya kasi during his time ang electron. Tapos, paano nasabi ni Rutherford na mayroong nucleus ang isang atom? Kasi gumawa din siya ng experiment at napatunayan niya na mayroong nucleus, mayroong concentration ng positive charges sa loob ng atom. So, ano-ano yung mga patunay na yon? So, ito yung ang experiment, no, yung aparato ni Thomson. So, yan yung cathode ray tube na gamit natin nung unang panahon. Ewan ko lang sa ibang nasa audience natin. Kasi ang TV natin dati ay cathode ray tube nung wala pa tayong LCD. So, gamit itong aparato na to ni J.J. Thomson. So, dahil dito, napatunayan niya din na may electrons. So, again, yung connection ng mga discoveries, no? At saka yung technology na kung saan siya ginamit. So, ito naman kay so dito naman, kay Rutherford, kung makikita nyo, meron siyang gold foil dito. Pinatamaan niya ng, actually, alpha particles yan. Ano ba yung alpha particles? Naku, nag-isip pa tayo, no? Kasi yung alpha particles ay, meron siyang 2 protons at saka 2 neutrons. So basically, ganun ang composition ng ating alpha particle. So positively charged siya. So nung tumama siya sa gold foil, hindi lahat dumiretso kasi kung concentrated, kung kagaya ng model ni Thomson ang ating atom, dire-diretso lang dapat yan. Kaso napansin ni Rutherford, bakit bumalik yung iba? So, ibig sabihin, meron diyang positively charged particle na nagpabalik doon sa ating alpha particles. So, kaya niya nasabi, merong concentration of positive charges na tinawag niyang nucleus ng atom. So, again, saan naman manggagaling si Niels Bohr? Kasi sabi ni Niels Bohr, mali yung model ni Rutherford. Bakit nga ba? Kasi meron na namang lumabas na experiment na nagpapatunay na hindi, kasi kung model ni Rutherford ang gagamitin, syempre, lahat ng possible light spectra pwedeng lumabas. Kaso hindi yun ang na-observe. May specific spectrum, may specific light spectrum lang na lumalabas. Ito yung sa hydrogen. Ito lang ang lumabas pag hydrogen. Iba naman ang lalabas pag calcium yan or 'di ba, ibang kulay. So, hindi talaga siya so doon na sabi ni Niels Bohr na hindi lahat ng meron lang possible orbit ang electrons. Hindi lahat ng radius ng orbit posible, kundi may specific orbit lang depende sa atom. So, kaya ganun. So, kailangan nating isipin bakit may ganung context. Okay. Tapos, saan naman nanggagaling si Schrödinger? Si Schrödinger kasi, doon naman lumabas yung konsepto na ang electron pala may may wave nature, hindi lang siya particle, kundi waves din siya. At yun ay, actually si De Broglie yung nag-conceptualize niyan, pero may experiment na lumabas dati na ang electron, pag merong ang electron beam, lalabas dyan, merong kang, tawag dito, parang yung sa ilaw lang, sa double slit experiment na ilaw, ganun din ang mangyayari sa electron. So, ibig sabihin, wave nga si electron din, di ba? May wave nature siya. Hindi lang siya particle nature. Kaya nga tayo may scanning electron microscope na ngayon di ba? At saka, kung ano-ano pang microscope na ang ginagamit ay electrons, hindi na light. Di ba? So, ang galing lang. So, kaya lumalabas din. Now, so ano pa ba yung mga difficulties na na-observe nila? Kaya natin binabalikan yung mga ganon sa history na yung spectra, may katunayan na ganito, na specific light lang ang na-absorb or na-i-emit kasi may difficulty din ang mga bata nga to distinguish the difference in energy between two atomic levels. So as nabanggit nga kanina ni Sir Mar, no? Pero dito tayo mag-focus. Dito tayo mag-focus. Kasi ang iniisip lagi ng mga natin, parang yung electrons, parang bola lang na hinagis mo, alam natin kung saan siya pupunta. Pero kasi kung pinag-uusapan natin electrons na super maliliit yan na particles, hindi ganun ang behavior, hindi siya parang bola. Kaya doon na papasok na yung bola na model ng electron, hindi talaga ganun ang behavior ng electron. Kasi sa sobrang liit niya, meron tayong tinatawag na Heisenberg uncertainty principle na hindi natin masabi kung saan siya pupunta. At yun ang pinanghahawakan ngayon ni Schrödinger. Kaya tayo may Schrödinger model ng atom. So again, balikan natin. Pag yung model natin ng electron ay bola lang siya, pagpasok niya dyan sa isang butas, doon lang din siya sa kabilang side. Same side lang din ng parang dire-diretso lang siya. Pero hindi yan ang nakita eh. Nag-experiment sila, hindi yan ang nakita. Meron siyang interference pattern. Parang ilaw lang. So, 'di ba? Ang amazing lang, Sir Mar. Kaya ayun, medyo din, ang hirap paniwalaan. Pero kasi, syempre nakita nila 'yan via experiment, no? Hindi naman 'yan hocus pocus lang. Napakita nila via experiment. So, 'yun lang. So, ang dami-dami, no? Ang dami nating nakitang posibilidad ng quantum physics. Pero talaga, misteryo talaga ang quantum physics para sa atin.
Kahit ako nagbabasa ako ng mga articles. Laging ginagamit lang yung mystery in quantum world. Kasi sila very small na mahirap i-appreciate. Hindi mo talaga makitang talaga yung application niya.
Kaya nga po.
Usually, ma'am, yung nakaka-appreciate lang. Hindi ko sinasabi na hindi natin na-appreciate na, ma'am. Usually, ang unang talaga makakapag-appreciate niyan, yung nakakaintindi ng physics talaga or quantum.
Totoo po. Opo. Kaya ang maganda dito talaga, sir, kung teachers tayo mismo iintindihin natin kasi para ma-appreciate natin. So kasi once na-appreciate natin na nahihirapan na kahit dun lang tayo magsimula, nahihirapan ako sa konsepto na to, ay hindi pala ako nag-iisa. So may ganun ng konteksto na hindi ako nag-iisa. Based on research, hindi rin pala maintindihan ng maraming tao. So from there, pwede na siguro mag-sharing of information, no? So kaya natin ginagawa ito, sir, kasi gusto nating i-share ang information sa lahat, hindi lang sa mga teachers, hindi lang sa students, kundi sa lahat ng kung sino man ang interesado, no? Para at least may starting point na hindi ko to naintindihan. Para saan ba to? Bakit ko kailangang intindihin? Ako na estudyante, ba't ko kailangang intindihin to? Kasi, again, ang jump off point natin, mga iho, mga iha, hindi na po tayo nasa 19 kopong-kopong. Nasa na po tayo, nasa 20th century, na kung saan ang lahat ng mga ginagamit nating technology ay gumagamit na ng quantum physics.
Quantum physics.
Yes. So ito na lang LCD screen ng ating laptop. Quantum physics ang ginamit dyan.
Correct, ma'am.
Tama, di ba?
Kaya kanina, ma'am, naisip ko, paano ko ba kukunin yung attention ng ating mga listeners, ating mga friends? Kaya ginawa ko, yun, maganda pala yun. Yung concert, kahit video clip lang. Kung pwede lang pakita ko po lahat ng kinanta niya, baka makalimutan na natin yung quantum. Okay po. At ma'am, mas maganda pa niyan, may enhance pa nila yung kanilang understanding. Pag narinig pa po nila yung mga ibang kasamahan natin.
Yes, tama po yan. Okay, kasi yung ibang kasamahan namin, ipe-present nila kung ikaw ay teacher, very much appreciated. Kasi makikita nyo sa part 2 ng ating webinar, ay meron tayong magpe-present sila ng strategies, no? kung paano
Correct.
siya ituturo sa classroom. Kasi kahit ako teacher, hindi ko naman alam lahat yan eh, kung paano ko isa-strategize. So, may ipipresent po sila and based on research din po yung kanilang ipipresent. Tapos malamang kayo din na mga audience namin, meron din kayong mga magagandang strategies. And and of course, we will be asking you to share those strategies to everybody. Kasi syempre learning natin lahat to. Hindi lang to para sa amin, kundi or di kaya para sa inyo, kundi para sa lahat po ito at i-share po natin sa lahat. Kasi lahat po tayo kailangan magtulungan, no? So para po for the better future, hindi lang natin, kundi ng mga estudyante natin or kung sino man nasa community natin. And of course, pwede nating ma-share kahit na sino dyan sa labas ng bahay natin, di ba, Sir Mar?
Correct, ma'am. Tama po. Tama.
Oo. Kasi mas maintindihan natin, mas maganda ding i-share din natin sa iba.
Kasi natututo po tayo. Hindi lang sila natuto sa atin, natututo din po tayo sa kanila.
Yes po, totoo po. Okay po. So, yun lang naman, Sir Mar. Meron pa ba tayong nakalimutan kaya?
Yun lang po, just a quick reminder lang po sa ating mga manonood na wag din po nilang kalimutan na pakinggan yung mga sharing na ibibigay ng ating mga partners po. Yan.
Opo. So, yun po. Abangan po. 3 parts po itong aming presentation, ng aming webinar. So, abangan po ninyo sa mga susunod na araw yung aming mga kasamahan sa aming grupo. So, meron po tayong aabangan na part 2 tungkol po sa strategies na pwede nyong gamitin sa classroom at part 3 po about assessments naman po na pwede nyong gamitin. So, yun lang po. Magandang araw po sa lahat. Ako po si Basil Pelicano.
At ako naman po si Marcy Ocol.
So, yun lang po.
Thank you very much.